Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Weightlifting Academy. I am the Iron Samurai. This is T-Bone. We're about to get crazy on you with the rules of weightlifting. Not all the rules, but all the ones that people tend to screw up the most when they do their very first competition. So we are about to go into depth and we're going to do demonstrations and everything of all the shit you cannot do in a weightlifting competition so that when you go into one, you are going to be able to kick more booty and look less silly. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you look like the most awesome version of yourself, regardless of what you lift in the competition. Anything else?
No.
Nope, that's it. All right, what we got here is our little chart. We're in our garage gym, by the way. Check it out. Already loaded squat bar, some plates, random crap. And what we have right here, in addition to a puppy dog, hello, is a chart that explains all of the stuff we're going to talk about right now. And I'm just going to go one by one, and then I'll show Tamara demonstrating the thing. And the very first one is no part of the body other than the feet may touch the platform on any lift. And that might seem really obvious because, you know, I mean, what's the alternative? You fall over and land on your ass. But there are actually some reasons why this might happen. The two main ones that come to mind are if you're a split snatcher or cleaner, your back leg might actually touch the platform. I've had this happen actually to me because I am a splitter. And the other reason is because your butt might touch the platform if you're one of those super duper mobile squat cleaners or squat snatchers. So I'm actually not going to have her demonstrate that one because it's really pretty obvious. But the other one.
I'll say that Amy's knee, one of our lifters, who's very crazy movement, her knee actually did touch, not in a split. But
yeah, in a squat. Yeah.
She can actually squat down, and her knee came in and touched the floor while she was in.
Yeah, totally crazy. So if any part of your body, other than the bottom of your feet, touches the platform, you are out. By the way, that's very similar to sumo. Interesting factoid. All right, so part two here is the lift doesn't start until the bar passes the knees. So I will actually have Tamara and River, the dog, demonstrate this.
Hi.
All right, so what that means is that once River gets out of the way.
Stay.
All right. When you are setting up to grab this barbell off the floor, it's perfectly okay to lift the bar up a little bit off the platform and put it back down again. That's not the start of your lift. You could do that, put the bar down, and then walk away, reset yourself, come back, and go again. And that's perfectly fine because the bar has not gone past your knees. Your lift doesn't actually start, legally speaking, until it goes past your knees, which is sort of like saying, I mean, I think of this like when you're playing chess, you know, the sort of the street rules where like you take your hand off your chess piece, that's your move. And so long as your hand's still on your chess piece, it's still your move. So it's the same idea. Until that bar passes your knees, you are still okay to go again.
But the clock is also going to run.
Right.
Until the lift starts.
Yeah, so your clock may run out though, so don't do this too long.
And we don't actually recommend this.
No, it's a really ridiculous thing to do.
However, it is true that even I think Holly Mingle, didn't she do that at the University Nationals?
That might be true.
I think she made, somebody basically came up and you touched the bar and it was like something weird. Yeah. Hopefully not that it's too heavy to lift. But you can walk away, reset, come back. So,
right.
You know.
Okay, so that's a good one. Now we're going to go back to our chart. Check it out. Woo, we're going to pink now, baby. You cannot pause mid-lift on a snatch or clean. And a lot of this is really discussing the idea of a hang snatch. Like,
so you can't come to the hang and then decide, oh, clean.
Right, it needs to be one continuous motion. The bar cannot stop, and it also cannot go back down again.
Yeah.
So once it starts going up, it has to continue to go up the entire time. There's no ability to do like a little pause in the middle. Now, obviously, you wouldn't want to pause in the middle for performance reasons. It wouldn't actually help you. It would hurt you. But this is a way of basically preventing people from pulling the bar to their hips and then doing some kind of weird oddball hang version of a snatch or a clean, because that is illegal. All right, here we got another one. You cannot press out a snatch or a jerk. Now this is extremely important. It's the #1 thing people are gonna screw up in their first contest, especially if you happen to be doing CrossFit competitions in the past. Because in CrossFit, a lot of the competitions, some of them are not this way, but a lot of them, you are perfectly legal if you press out. And I'll have Tamara demonstrate that if you don't know what we're talking about.
elbows to lock out, and yes, I should say, unrelated to this. If you watch Nick's intro, he said that the whole point of this video is so that you look less ridiculous on the platform.
Yes.
I would like to point out that I am lifting in Sparkle Flats.
Sparkle Flats.
And I'm lifting a kid's barbell.
This is a children's barbell. On to get height. We are on these little things.
I will say that I did put the 5 kilo plates on. And it just seemed like a bad idea.
Yeah, it seemed like hard work, which we're against. We hate work.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so we are going to look ridiculous for you,
yes,
so that you don't have to.
Okay, so you have to lock your elbows. So you want to snatch and lock your elbows.
Yeah, locked elbows.
You don't want to snatch and do that.
Right, that is horribly illegal in a Olympic lifting competition, and quite frankly, judges, this is a judge sport, Olympic lifting, and unlike gymnastics, or even worse, unlike, say, like figure skating, Olympic lifting has very few things to judge, which means the judges really don't have a lot to look at, and they're going to focus really hard in on your elbows. That means the #1 thing you're the most likely to get screwed over by is any kind of press out whatsoever, even a really minor one. And so you want to lock out like a maniac, because that's what judges are going to focus on.
You cannot rebend. So it's not just
right.
the initial lockout.
Can you demonstrate a rebend so that they know what you're talking about?
This. I can't. That should be okay, and then go to recover and do that.
Right. So notice that's a very subtle shift in her shoulders right there. It's like that, and then it kind of goes down a little bit, and then she does it again. Yeah.
And they're looking at your elbows. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not looking. Just I could do this.
Right. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah.
You're probably going to get called on that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, like there's a lot of lifters who get called for that anyway, even though it's not technically illegal. So our suggestion is no matter what, at all costs, lock out like a maniac at the top of the lift, because it's a judge sport and the judges might call you on something if it even looks like you might have pressed out, whether you did or not.
You have to lock out your jerk.
Yeah.
Keep it locked until you recover.
Yes.
You can't press it out.
Yeah, that's horribly illegal. Yeah. And I know that's confusing because a lot of CrossFitters in their CrossFit competition, that is legal, and it's a perfectly legal lift in some CrossFit competitions. It's not in Olympic weightlifting. Yeah. Like that is horrible stuff right there. It's also just kind of scary, very frankly. Okay, so that, I mean, really, that is the biggest thing. We're going to move on. If you dip to jerk, you have to jerk. So here's the thing, is that you are actually allowed to do a little bit of like bouncing around of the bar in order to get your hands resituated. So a lot of people...
I clean and I do that.
Yeah, you can do that. That's perfectly legal. That's fine.
Or I clean and then I do that.
Yeah, that's legal too.
As long as I know, then I'm just going to re-grip.
Yeah, re-gripping in some way or another is okay, because a lot of people, I'm one of them, have their pinkies or even their ring fingers pop out on the clean when they catch it, and they got to obviously get their fingers underneath the bar again in order to jerk it. Perfectly cool. Nothing wrong with that at all. However, you need to be making very clear that you don't do a dip with your knees. Yeah, and the bar didn't go anywhere. Got this dip in the knees, but the bar actually didn't go anywhere.
You gotta go.
That is illegal.
Dip.
Yeah, once you start dipping, you gotta go.
You can't do that whole.
Right. Now, I know that's really kind of weird, because the truth of the matter is that that's not a heavily enforced thing. It's got to be obvious. So if you really are just like, if the judge is looking at you and it's obvious you're just trying to re-grip your hands around and you do a little dip in order to do that, you're probably not going to get called. It's really common to do that. However, be a little careful. I mean, if it looks at all like you just tried to jerk but couldn't get the bar very far, you're out. All right, next one. You must finish with your feet parallel to the barbell. Exactly. So this is a long sentence, so I'm going to do this in chunks. So you must finish with your feet parallel to the barbell. Okay. This one's kind of funny because a lot of people...
It's common with the jerk.
Yeah, it's common with the jerk for people to think.
When you start, you're going to be facing the referee, the middle referee.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. We in the audience.
You don't have to finish facing the referee.
You don't have to finish facing the ref.
But have to be, is parallel the right word? I don't know. They have to be in line. So they have to be back together and going the same way. So, so I jerk. Okay, now I have to get my feet back together in line. Okay,
with the barbell.
I don't mean like together like this. I mean they have to be in line.
Yeah, like a straight line.
One foot here.
Yeah.
Or a foot here, okay? And you can't have the bar facing this way and your feet here. So
yeah.
Basically,
no twisted weirdness.
I can jerk, let's say it's really heavy, it's a super PR. And I jerk, and I try to get it under control. And I can't look, my elbows are bending, but I can't get the bar under control.
Yeah.
I'm here.
But now that she's got her feet.
I'm not facing the head referee.
This is legal though. Okay. This is a legal ending.
Fine. Okay.
Right.
This actually happens like
all the time.
More commonly than you would think. So I can get it down to here.
Right. But you got to have those feet in line with the barbell at the finish. No matter what, on both snatch and the jerk. Very, very important.
Sometimes you'll see people that are like this and they're holding and waiting for the down signal, waiting for the down signal, and all of a sudden someone in the audience will go, feet together, and they're like, oh.
Yeah. The judge will not give you the down signal until you have that. So here we go. It kind of leads us into the next things. Knees fully flexed. So after you got your feet parallel with the barbell, sometimes people will have this weird thing where their knees are not locked out. So when it says fully flexed, we just mean, yeah, this not legal. You're not done yet. You got to lock out the knees. So you're going to lock out the elbows, lock out the knees. Both are very important at the very, very finish. You got to have those locked out legs, or else you're not going to get your down signal. And you know, yeah, this not cool. You got to be locked out. All right. And the very last thing is you got to wait for the down signal. This is huge. People get called out for this all the time. Next to the press out, this is the most common mistake. And what happens is you get up, you get your feet in line, everything's cool, and then you just drop the bar, woo, because you're so excited. Oh my God, I'm such a badass. But the judge has not yet said the word down. And if you haven't got that down signal, or heard a buzzer or whatever it is they're using at that competition, if you haven't got the down signal yet, you hold that bar above your head and you prove to everybody there that you are totally stable, solid, like a petrified dinosaur. You are not moving. So if you're doing that, yeah, so go ahead and show.
Again on the jerk all the time. We'll do this. Jerk, I'm going to get back together. I'm almost together, but no, I'm not really together.
Yeah, you're still moving around. You're not getting a down signal there. So basically the idea is this. You get a down signal only when the judge believes, the head judge believes you are completely stable with that bar and could stand there like a rock, you know, like holding the world above your head like Atlas forever. They have to believe that you honestly could just stand there for the next 5 minutes with that bar above your head. You're that stable. If they don't believe that, you're not going to get a down signal. If they do believe it, they will. Now they're going to be really, sometimes judges are really fast at that. But here's the thing, sometimes they're slow. And it's up to you to wait for the judge. It's not their fault that they were a little bit slow on the down signal. That's your fault for being too, over-eager with your lift. Now, I mean, the truth is, a lot of people screw this up their very first competition. They get so excited. So we really want to drill this home. The press out and the down signal, those two things are the thing almost everybody messes up. You really got to be adamant about that.
Practice giving yourself a down signal.
Yes.
A couple weeks before the meet.
Yeah, every single lift, count to 2. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I mean it. On every single lift, count to 2 as though you're waiting for a down signal. So a very closely related thing to this, and it's actually on the board, is it's not just that you keep your hands on the bar on the way down, it's that the bar actually has to go in front of you, not behind you. And that might seem obvious, but it's actually not. I mean, a lot of times in the gym, you could drop it any way you wanted to. You can safely miss behind you, or it's not even a miss, right? I mean, you stood up straight, you had the lift.
Even if they give you the down signal.
Yeah.
They sit down, and like, I'm serious, I saw this at a local meet. Down, perfectly good lift, person has it under control, and then does this. That's no lift. No lift.
Yeah, so I understand that looks cool and all, and you're like impressing your mom, but that is an illegal lift, so don't do that. All right, move on. So here we go, down to green. Don't do anything to make the referees mad. This goes back to that concept. This is a judge sport. That's what it is. It is very similar in that regard to figure skating. Just accept this. This is not an objective sport at all. It's 100% subjective. There are 3 judges. They have yes and no buttons, basically. White lights, which are yes, red lights, which are no. And they can just decide, basically on a whim, that your lift was bad in one way or another, and then make up a reason by, afterwards. The dog's eating our wine and cheese. We do have wine, cheese. All right, we saved the wine and cheese from the dog. So we're going to go back to this idea of the weightlifting being a judge sport. We're dead serious about this. If you don't take seriously the fact that the judges could just call you out for no reason whatsoever and basically just come up with a reason after the fact, then you are screwed. So it's always a good idea to, if you can, make the judges happy. And the last one is basically the same idea. That is, you're trying to convince the judges of something. Always act like you made the lift. So I'm going to have Tamara here demonstrate 2 things. First, she's going to act like she didn't make the lift. She's going to do what a lot of people do. They get overly critical of themselves. They try to kill dogs. And there's the lift. She tries to come together. She's like, oh God, this is a horrible lift. I probably pressed out. Oh, I'm such a horrible person. Nobody's going to ever love me. I should probably go live on an island all by myself. And that's the shit that her face is conveying, and the judge is going to pick up on that, and guess what? They have a split-second decision to make. They're going to go yes or no. Their thumb's just going to smack a button, and if they look at your face and they see, I totally pressed out, I totally did something wrong, they may very well press no, just simply because they believe you. So instead, what we want is to make that split-second decision for the judges be all about, I'm so awesome, I'm amazing, I totally made this lift, look how cool I am, I can totally follow all the rules, I am definitely the person who you want to give a yes white light to. If you do that, it's much, much better. Now, be very clear about this. We didn't just tell you to showboat.
No excessive celebration.
Yeah, exactly. Showboating, I swear to God, showboating can get you red lighted. Don't be stupid. Judges hate a showboat. They loathe them. They really do. They will talk in the back room later about how much they hated everybody who showboated. And they will probably, on your next attempts, like you did on other snatches, they're going to come back and they're going to red light you on some of your clean and jerks. I promise you that. It's going to happen. It happens all the time. So don't be a fool. When you go out there, your whole goal is to be the most respectful person in the history of the world to the judges. You want to be confident but not arrogant. And that's what it's all about. So when you act like you made the lift, that doesn't mean you're a showboat douchebag. That means that instead you're the kind of person who knows, you know what, I did everything I was supposed to do, I did this right, and I deserve a white light for all the right reasons. So if you do that, you're kicking some serious butt. And the very last one, we didn't even bother to write on the board, but we're going to say it out loud anyway, and that is you cannot touch your knees and your elbows together. Or that is really your elbows can't touch any part of your leg. So on the clean. That's obviously true on the snatch. But there we go. Sit. Good. Tamara's going to take up this bar. She can do a little clean. Woo! I didn't think you were going to make that. It seems so heavy. So right there, her elbow just touched her knee. Out. That is a fail. The reason this rule exists is just about safety, quite frankly. Tamara and I both are in possession of fucked up wrists, and the reason for that is because we had elbow touches at some point in our careers. And by an elbow touch, what we really mean is the elbow slammed into the leg, and the barbell was on the hand, right? And it basically just did a whole jack job on the whole wrist area. So you don't want to do that. Obviously, for injury prevention reasons, you want to keep your elbows as high as you can, just like you were taught how to do on a clean. If you don't even know what we're talking about, then you can go watch our How to Front Squat video, because we explain that really well. But it also is just against the rules. So if you have any kind of touch of the elbow on the knees, you are out. Okay, so that was another episode of Weightlifting Academy, all about the rules of Olympic weightlifting. It's not all the rules, obviously. The booklet on that is stupidly long. I don't know what it is.
You should go read it.
7,000 pages. You should not read it. It's stupid. Don't read this dumbass book. So many things in weightlifting you could just ignore, quite frankly. You don't have to know that. It's not a big deal to your ability to do a competition. But the ones we just talked about, those are the ones we see again and again and again. People screwing up in their first couple of competitions. And they're usually the things that judges are looking for. Yes, there are little rules here and there that we haven't talked about, but honestly, they're not the things you have to worry too much about. You figure them out over time. But Those ones are huge. Again, weightlifting is not like gymnastics. There's not like a ton of things for the judge to pay attention to, and that means they're going to be hyper-focused on the few things they do have to pay attention to, which means you're not going to get away with it. So the big ones, again, the number two biggest things that you have to think about are the press out and the down signal. If you at least get those, you're going to be all right. The other stuff isn't quite as horrible, but the press out and the down signal, everybody screws that up. It's amazing how many people in a competition will do that. A local competition we'll go to, and every single local competition somebody does those two things on a pretty regular basis, not even knowing that they're illegal, thinking they can get away with it. That's different than somebody pressing out because the weight was too heavy, of course, but you can save yourself a lot of heartache by just following a few basic rules. So that should cover you.
Yes.
All right. So make sure you go to weightliftingacademy.com, grab your free copy of the 7 Deadly Sins of Olympic Weightlifting, because it's waiting for you right there for free, and it's been calling for you all night long. So again, that's at weightliftingacademy.com. Yeah, we have nothing else to say. Later.